This week we're here in Codula, building up towards the OCC at the end of August. So I just wanted to take some time to go through some tips and tricks on how to go up and how to go down while you're in the mountains on the trails. You're going to be learning some techniques on how to use the poles on the uphills, and then looking at working on the downhills, how to read the trails effectively so you can descend quicker. So I've been using these going up and down mountains for a long time now. There's definitely been a lot of learning along the way, refining some skills and techniques, and now implementing new ways to go up and down in the mountains. Everything that comes next isn't just going to be a quick fix. It's not going to be something that happens instantly on the trails. Whether you're a complete beginner or you're at the professional level, you're going to need to spend some time on this. Take any opportunity that you can to practice some of these skills. The more automatic some of these skills start to become, you'll start being able to do them quicker, more efficiently, and that's going to get you across the finish line faster. First up, we've got poles. Poles are often used predominantly for uphill during training, during racing, and basically assisting you going up the climb, taking a little bit of the load off the legs. A couple of the key differences are obviously going to be the length of the pole and then also the hand straps. There are several kind of different types that you can use. There are some that sort of click in like this, or otherwise there are some more sort of traditional types where it's more of a hand sort of loop or a strap. And so there's different ways to carry poles. Quite a common way nowadays is using one of these pole quivers. And so it basically just attaches to the outside of your pack, and so yeah, as you can see, you've got really easy access to getting the poles in and out. It's just going to mean that when you are needing to use them on the trails or in a race, there's not going to be a thought of this is going to be a hassle, this is going to be awkward. And so these ones here, it's just really easy to get them in and then pull them out when you're needing to use them. The more you use them, the more efficient you get at extending them nice and quickly. The key to when you are extending the poles, getting them off your pack, is just to try and sort of relax a bit, stay nice and smooth when you're doing it. A lot of when you're going to use poles, either in training or in racing, a lot of it's going to be sort of mainly revolving around two kind of key factors. First one being the gradient, so basically either how steep or not steep something is. And then the second one is going to be the terrain itself. Obviously when the terrain's smoother, it's going to be a little bit easier in the sense of where you can put your poles, choosing placements and things like that. You want to make sure that you're not placing the poles too far ahead of you, just making sure that you're nice and comfortable, looking ahead as you're going uphill so you can see where you want to be on the trails, where you want to put your poles. And as your body starts to walk through in line with the poles, you just want to make sure that you're getting good leverage, pushing backwards with the poles, and that's what's going to be propelling you up the mountain. Things that you want to make sure you don't do is making sure we're not sort of pushing forward, leaning forward too far. At the end of the day, as much as we like to think we've got big arms, they're a very small muscle group, and so you want to make sure that's a nice and comfortable distance away from your body. When there are features on the trail, making sure that you're not putting your pole too close to rocks, tree roots, or any other feature where basically as you bring your body through, as you're moving forward, the pole is going to end up getting stuck. If you're lucky, that's all that'll happen, it'll get stuck. Otherwise, if you're planting your pole too close to features like rocks and tree roots and things like that, you can come forward, and if the pole stays stuck in the ground, that's when you're going to end up having little cracks or snapping the tip off the end of the pole. In this kind of scenario where we've got lots of rocks around, sometimes you're going to be wanting to place the poles more beside your body, so then as your body comes through and then in line with the poles, you can then get leverage off the poles to get up on top of a feature. In this case, we're looking to get up on top of this rock. And as my body comes through, I'm going to look to get leverage and then push myself up to then move forward. I'm choosing to do it that way rather than put my poles in front of me on top of the feature, because if I'm doing that, it's putting a lot more strain and load through my arms. So I've basically got a big sort of rocky boulder in the middle. Logic would almost suggest that the trail we've come from is coming from directly behind me. The trail continues along directly ahead. And so just over here on the right hand side, the gradient's slightly less than what it is obviously going up this rock. And also to move from sort of the bottom up on top of the rock or next to the rock where the trail's kind of going, the steps to get to that sort of end point are going to be smaller steps. And so it's going to mean you're going to be loading less through your quads. And so it's going to be essentially easier to get up on the right hand side here as opposed to going up on the rock over here. And so more exposure to technical trails does increase the chances of injury, and there is risk associated with running on technical trails. It's not to say don't do it, it's just to say that, hey, let's take our time with this, be careful, take small progressions. Sometimes when you're going up or downhill on the trails, there's going to be different options where you can put your feet. Sometimes you're going to be looking to put your feet in more kind of open spaces or where there's clear spots to put your feet. And then also sometimes on the flip side of that, you're actually going to be looking to maybe stay on top of the terrain in the sense of staying on top of features. And so that might mean going from rock to rock, or going from tree root to tree root, or feature to feature. And so a big part of getting more efficient and essentially faster at going down hills is kind of the key skill of being able to read the trails, to be able to look up ahead and glance ahead safely when you can, looking at the features that are coming up, because that's going to be the information that's going to be then where you're going to be putting your feet, what part of the trail that you want to be on, whether you want to be on the left hand side or the right hand side, and kind of the more automatic that process starts to become, the faster you're going to get at it. And when you're out there, obviously in the mountains, especially so when you're racing, there's so much time that can be gained. Ways that I can kind of regulate my speed going down here. I'm looking for places where I'm going to get really good traction with my shoes. There's a lot of tree roots, a lot of rocks, and so I'm just looking up when I can. I'm scanning ahead so I can pick nice foot placements, looking to find empty spaces where I can, and then if I need to, using the tree roots as well to sort of help as a braking force. Another feature that you're going to come across regularly on the trails is going to be sharp turns or corners, and so the process of kind of setting yourself up for the corner or the feature that's coming up ahead is really important to make it as smooth as possible as you're going downhill. So as I'm cruising down here, I can see there's a sharp right-hand turn coming up, and so as I'm approaching, I'm going to move over to the left-hand side, point my hips in the direction that I'm going to be going next. Nice sharp corner, keeping the arms out for balance, and nice and smoothly going down. So like learning any new skill, you want to make sure that you take your time with it. Running downhill can be a little bit scary at times, especially when you're new to it. And so just take your time, move slowly, that way you're going to be moving at your own speed. You're not going to have yourself in a situation where you're possibly going to fall over, risk injuring yourself. During any kind of training block, you just want to make sure that you're trying to get on the similar kind of terrain that you're going to be racing on. The better you can get on that kind of terrain is going to mean that you're going to be faster on race day. So that's some tips for going uphill and downhill when you're training and racing in the mountains. Hope you find some of those useful. And as I mentioned earlier, with all of these new kind of things, practicing new skills and techniques that you're going to be using on the trails, making sure that you take things slowly, staying safe, and as always, just making sure you're having fun on the trails. If there's anything else that you guys would like to see, any other sort of instructional videos, just leave a comment below. We'll see you next week as we keep building towards the UTMB OCC finals in the end of August.